Nightfall Tales. I'm an independent bush pilot who flies medical cargo into the small villages along the Ituri River in the Congo basin. Or I was. After what I saw that night, I have no plans to set foot in another cockpit. I won't return. I can't. The villages down there, deep in the jungle, they depend on me. Not a single paved road reaches them. The dirt strips wash out 3 months a year. So I fly in. Insulin, antibiotics, anti-malarials, anti-venom. Whatever the missionary clinic at Nduye needs is what I cram into the back of my old Cessna 206. I'd done it for 9 years. My name is Kofi Mensah, and I was 20 minutes from home base in Bunia when my luck finally ran out. I had just left Nduye, a tiny settlement with maybe 400 people. I shouldn't have flown back that night. I was a fool. The sky to the north had gone the color of a bruise. The river below had gone still, the way it always does right before something terrible. I thought that I could outrun the squall line. I was wrong. Dead wrong. I tried to outsmart the Congo weather, and I lost. I was perhaps 30 kilometers from Bunia when the first wall of rain smashed into my windshield. The wipers could not move fast enough. The water came down sideways, in sheets, soaking the prop arc and turning it into a blur. I had 2 choices in front of me. I could swing wide and try to circle back through the calmer air over the lake, or I could put the bird down in one of the old logging clearings I had marked years ago on my chart. Who was I kidding? I knew I did not have enough fuel to limp all the way around the storm. So, for the first time since I had taken off from Nduye, I made a calm decision. There was a clearing 2 clicks east and a glow beyond it. A village. Sambuco maybe, or Bello. If things went badly, I could try to push through the bush on foot and reach them before dawn. The decision was made. The first chance I had, I set the plane down in the open field. Bunia Tower, this is Kofi Mensah, Aviation Tango November 9er. I am making an emergency landing. Roughly 32 kilometers southwest of Bunia, near the old palm plantation. Requesting rescue when the weather clears. Over. A rasp came over the radio. Mensah, Bunia emergency. Stand by. Do not... And then the signal dropped dead. I held the yoke and said a quiet prayer to the ancestors. Things were not looking good. I poured all of my attention into landing. The rain had become a wall. I banked right and began to descend toward the clearing. A burst of wind came up out of nowhere. The plane was rocked. The control yoke bucked in my hands as the ground rushed up. I could tell this landing was going to be ugly. I just had to hope the tires on the gear would not tear themselves apart on the rough ground. I steadied the throttle and I guided the aircraft down to the red earth. The impact threw me forward against the harness. The plane bounced hard. I set her down again. She bounced once more. Oh, come on, sister. Do not fail me now. I set her down a 3rd time, and this time she held. The tires screamed across the wet grass. It was a rough landing, but I thought I was going to be okay. Until I hit the stump. I did not have a chance to swerve. The half-buried termite mound rose out of the ground like a stone hidden by the high grass. My left tire caught it square. I was sent spinning toward the tree line. The instruments blinked like fireflies on my panel. My breath caught in my throat as I fought the rudder and could not bring the nose back. By the time I saw the lone silk cotton tree at the edge of the bush, I knew this was going to be bad. Between the slick mud under my tires and the pull of the yoke, there was nothing left to do. I had managed to slow to maybe 35 kilometers per hour by the time the wing clipped the trunk. My head snapped hard against the window. My vision went white at the edges. When I pressed my hand to my temple, my fingers came away dark. The last thing I remember was the flashing beacon on my radio before everything faded to black. I woke to the smell of wet earth. Everything was dark. I realized quickly that water was pooling on the floorboards. Every dial on the panel had gone dead. My radio was out. More importantly, a thick, hot pulse was beating across my temple in slow waves. I reached into my pocket for my phone. 2 hours had passed. The battery read 3%. I fumbled to unlock it. I managed to dial a single 9 before the screen died. I slammed my fist against the yoke. I was stranded in a jungle storm with no way to call for help, no working radio, and no flashlight. Things were looking dark. I began to breathe too fast, but I pulled myself back. This was no time to panic. I winced as I reached for the first aid kit under the seat. I popped it open. Paracetamol, good enough. I swallowed 2 tablets dry and pressed a length of gauze against the cut above my eye. I pulled on my rain jacket, my heavy boots, my canvas hat, and I closed my eyes. I took one long breath. I told myself I was ready. I pushed the door open. The warm rain hit my skin. The jungle had its own smell at night, a thick green breath I had smelled 100 times. But this one was different, heavier. I stepped out of the cockpit. My boots sank into the red clay. I pulled a small flashlight from my jacket. I switched it on. I shone it toward the tree line. There, no more than 2 kilometers away, I could see a faint glow. A settlement. The one I had glimpsed on my way down. I dragged my eyes away from the light. I turned back to my aircraft. Yeah, the crash had done a number on her. The left wing was folded back like a broken arm. She was probably finished. Part of me thought I should stay with her. She had been my companion for 9 years. I did not want to abandon her in the rain. The other part of me knew I would not survive until morning if I did not move. I closed the door and gave the fuselage a quiet tap. Don't go anywhere now. I will be back before you can count to 10. Okay, fine, 20. The rain came down harder. Clearly, the Congo was not in the mood for jokes. I sighed. I gave my plane one last look. I pulled my hood tight. I put my head down and started across the clearing. By the time I reached the bush line, I was shaking like a leaf. You can put on your heaviest oilskin jacket, your tall rubber boots, 3 layers of socks if you want. Nothing stops the wet from finding you. Not out here in the Ituri. The jungle has its own rules. I pushed through the undergrowth at half a crawl. The village I had seen should have been a short walk. Normally, I would have covered the distance in under an hour. But at the pace the mud allowed, I would be lucky to make it in 3. On top of that, the canopy up high let almost nothing through, but the lower branches and vines made every meter an argument. The deeper I went, the more I felt that something in the forest was wrong. It was dead quiet. No buzzing of insects, no rustle of duikers, no cry of the night monkeys. I felt like I was walking through a place that did not want me there, a place where I was an intruder. I had been walking for maybe 20 minutes when I first heard it. "Kofi, help me! Kofi!" I spun around, swinging my flashlight in every direction. By that point, my ears were ringing so loud I could barely tell which sounds were mine. I told myself I had to be hearing things. I had been in a crash. I was concussed. That had to be it. "Kofi, please." I turned once more, heart pounding. I could not see anyone, but this time I knew. I had heard a small child's voice. I wanted to shout into the dark. If this was a game, it was a cruel one, needlessly so. I had just survived a crash, and someone wanted to frighten me. The thought made my blood hot. "Hey, if anyone is out there, stop playing. I need a doctor, please." I heard giggling just by my left ear, so close that I could almost feel a breath on my skin. "No one is coming, Kofi. Just like you did not come for me." I swung a blind fist at the voice. All I did was knock myself off balance. I tumbled forward onto my knees in the mud. My flashlight hit the ground and rolled, plunging the jungle into full dark. The giggling came back. "You can try as much as you like. You will not leave this forest. This place will swallow you." I scrambled for the flashlight. I snatched it up and pointed it behind me. There, for the first time, I saw it. A dark silhouette peeking from behind a buttress root. It was tall, unnaturally tall. It did not move when the beam hit it. It just stood there, half hidden, watching me with one glowing amber eye. I backed away on my heels. I did not want to look anywhere else. I knew I could not stay like that forever. But in that moment, I could not move. I had read stories about things like this. The ads, the Nguma Monene, the forest spirits my grandmother would not let us talk about after dark. I did not think they were real. They could not be real. But if they were not, what was staring at me? As if the thing had heard my thought, it made a move. It slid behind the tree and vanished. That gave me no comfort at all. I stood. My legs shook. I backed away, keeping my light trained on the same spot. I walked like that, backwards, for what felt like an age. Just as I was beginning to tell myself I had imagined it, I heard the voice again. This time, it was a man's voice, low and rough, like a smoker. "Oh, do not do that, Kofi. That is not safe." The breath caught in my throat. The voice had come from behind me, the opposite direction from where I had seen the thing. I swallowed. My heart crashing, I turned. There was nothing there. "Gone, Kofi. She is gone." I did not turn back this time. I started to run into the bush. I know that might have been stupid, but I could not stop. Adrenaline was running through me, fired by nothing but pure terror. I crashed through the undergrowth, making less progress than I had hoped. The mud was knee-deep. My boots kept sinking. I did not care. I would run the entire way to that village if I had to. I could not stay in the same forest as that thing for another minute. I came to a stop without warning. It was there. My flashlight beam landed on a figure peeking from behind a tree. This time, it was in front of me, in the exact direction I needed to go. I panicked. In any normal moment, I would have weighed my choices. But this was not a normal moment. I was injured. My heart was racing like a war drum. A creature was stalking me through the trees, so I moved on fear. Now it was clear what the thing was doing. It was trying to make me lose my sense of direction, and it was working. Further ahead, another silhouette peeked from another tree. I cut hard right. Minutes later, another shape appeared, and I cut left. Eventually, when I had walked for a while without seeing one, the adrenaline began to fade, and I had to stop. I leaned against a tree, trying to catch my breath. The full weight of what I was in hit me all at once. Instead of recovering my strength, I started hyperventilating. It had done it. I was completely lost. I slid down the tree and I began to cry. Dozens of faces flashed through my mind. My mother, my sisters, my little cousin who was still waiting for her school fees. I would never see any of them again. I was going to die in this forest, wet and alone. at the hands of something my grandmother had tried to warn me about. "Help me, Kofi. Please, help me." I shook my head. "No. Please leave me alone. Help me, Kofi. This is your fault. You did this to me." I swung the flashlight around. Shivers were running through me so hard they rattled my teeth. "Who are you? Show yourself." The thing obliged. A tall, dark figure stepped out from behind a nearby trunk. Half of its body was in shadow, but the half I could see frightened me to my soul. The creature was wearing my sister's face. Adeze. My sister who had died when she was 6 years old. Except it was not her exactly. The features were not quite right. Her eyes were too large, her nose too long, and her smile, it had too many teeth. It stretched wider than any human mouth ever should. I swallowed a scream. The thing looked at me with those black, blown pupils, and it spoke. "You did this to me, Kofi. It is all your fault." The flashlight trembled in my hand. In a flash of panic, I let the beam drop and the thing disappeared into the night. My breathing grew shorter. This could not be happening. It was not my fault. It was not. But what if the thing was right? What if it really was my fault? All those years I had hidden from the truth. I could have saved her. Oh God, it was right. I could have saved Adeze. A strange calm came down over me. I stood up from the root. My hands were steady now. "Adeze, if that is really you, I am sorry," I said, stepping toward where the thing had been hiding. "I failed you. I was a poor older brother." I do not know why we walked down to the river that day. Mama had warned us against the crocodiles 100 times. I was the one who chose to go. "I am your elder brother. You looked up to me, and I could not save you. I am sorry." I rounded the tree where the figure wearing my sister's face had been standing a moment before. I expected it to pounce, to take me apart limb from limb like a thing from a nightmare. I mean, that was the fate I deserved. But when I stepped around the tree, there was nothing there. I let out a breath that was half relief and half disappointment. I had made peace with dying. Part of me had even invited it. I was about to turn back and try to find another way forward when I noticed the footprints. Human footprints. They led away into the undergrowth, fresh and crisp like a drawn map. I swallowed hard. I did not have any other choice. I could follow that trail or stay lost in the jungle until the rain finished me. Suddenly, I was not eager to die anymore. I followed those footprints through the mud for what felt like days. By the time I reached the end of the trail, water had crept into my boots and my socks were soaked. My eyelids were so heavy I could barely keep them open. I was running on empty. To my shock, the prints led me to the glow of lanterns. The village. I was close enough to see the tin roofs through the trees. If I had any strength left, I might have thrown my arms up. I never reached that village. The tracks did not lead to a clearing the way I had hoped. They stopped at the foot of a massive silk cotton tree. Lying at its base, in stark contrast against the red clay, was blood. Lots and lots of blood. And in the middle of all that red, there was something I recognized. Something so familiar I would have known it anywhere. It was the small beaded necklace my mother had made for Adeze the day she was born. The one she was still wearing the morning she walked down to the river with me. The one that should have been buried with her. I choked back a sound that was not a word. I knelt in the mud. No more rain fell on me. No more voices called from the trees. Everything was quiet. I lifted the beads into my hand. I held them close to my chest. I fell to the earth, folded into myself, and I cried. Sir, can you hear me? I must have lost consciousness at some point because I woke up in the cockpit of my plane. A medic from the search chopper was leaning over me, shaking my shoulder. I reached up to my temple. It was still bleeding, but that was impossible. I had pressed gauze into the wound. I am okay, I think I said. I looked around me. Nothing was out of place. The first aid kit was where it had always been. My jacket was hanging off the yoke. I almost allowed myself to believe that the whole walk through the forest had been nothing more than a vivid nightmare. But then, I uncurled the fingers of my right hand. A cold wave rolled over me, because in my palm lay my sister's beaded necklace.